Hey, what's going on YouTube? Lionel here, and today I have a another fragrance review for you. As you can see, my allergies have been bothering me a bit, so excuse me if my eyes look low. I promise you, I haven't been on uh, any type of illegal substance or legal substance for that matter. Um, anyway, um, this is a treat review for me. Uh, it's going to include a little shout out. This is vying for my number one winter fragrance. Man, this is just a wonderful, wonderful fragrance. It comes from the house of Parfume de Empire, and it is called Ambre Russe. Now, let me tell you, I got this fragrance, this juice here that I have in my hand. I got it for free. Someone gave it to me as a gift. That dude name is Christopher White. Out of uh, he's in the Lone Star State, and man, I greatly appreciate it. I was looking for it. My man Mel said, "Hey, Chris was selling it." I contacted Chris, and the brother just said, "Man, you can have it." Man, I begged to send him some money. I begged to send him some juice. He refused to take it, man. You know, when you have that type of generosity, I just don't know what to say, man. I know to come back 20-fold, brother. So I really, really appreciate that beyond measure. I mean, not that it, he wouldn't sell it. I mean, I don't know what he would have sold it for, but just the fact that he was shipping on his own dime, send me the bottle. I mean, that's amazing. So anyway, let me talk about it. The presentation. Um, the cap is a little cheap plastic cap. Um, I mean, it is a they didn't spend a lot of money on a presentation. Now, I do like the classic style of the bottle. I mean, I really do like that. But you could tell they didn't really put, like Killian, they didn't put, a ton of money in the presentation. But what they did put a ton of money in is in the fragrance. So let's get into it. It is a spicy oriental. It was created in 2003, and the notes from base notes are vodka, rum, incense, coriander, and cinnamon. That seems to be a top, and there is no middle. It goes kind of straight to a base. And then the base we have vanilla, tea, amber, honey, and leather. Now, um, someone who was I just interacting with? Someone on Facebook, and I was just interacting on Smelling Extra Fly or Fragrance Guru, and he was asking me about that. A lot of people compared this to Shergi. So let me tell you. At first, I was like, no, no way. Why, I mean, why would you even have that impression? But if you smell Ambre Rouge out of the bottle and you smell Shergi out of the bottle, I mean that it's something about that honey. Um, that honey note. I think is maybe it's the honey, maybe it's the honey and the amber. Something out of the bottle. They smell very similar. But here's the problem. Once that leaves the bottle, once Ambre Rousse leaves the bottle and hits your skin, it's a totally different fragrance. It takes a totally different direction. While Shergi gets heavy and sticky, and could be considered cloying, very very syrupy. If you know Serge Lutens' fragrances, they're very syrupy like. They have a syrupy quality to them. Ambre Rousse does not go syrupy. Um, but they do share some similarities in the vibe, especially out of the bottle. But once they hit the skin, um, they're different. And here's why. Immediately out of the bottle, you spray Ambre Rousse, you're going to get a blast. So what you smell in a bottle is very, very deceptive, because what you spray on your skin is going to be a blast of vodka and rum. And some spicy vodka and rum on top of that. Vodka already has that kind of spicy characteristic to it, and rum has that spicy characteristic to it. Well, the coriander and the cinnamon with the incense just makes it that much more spicy. Now, it's not really the incense isn't a church incense. It's a sweetened, rounded incense. So you really don't sense it there, but you can tell that it's there because it's causing this. Again, it's causing this incensey, spicy, peppery type of vibe with the vodka. Now, and cinnamon is also adding some spice to it. So I mean, right out, I mean, if you look at the top notes, vodka, rum, incense, coriander, and cinnamon, it's just pure spice, and that happens for about the first. Um, I would even argue. I think about the first 20, 15 to say 15 to 30 minutes. This vodka is dominating. You don't really get a lot of the sweetness. You don't get. I mean, you get vodka. The spiciness goes away, and then you got a blast of booziness. So the spiciness is in the top. So the cinnamon and the coriander and the incense are kind of all bunched in there right on the initial application of it, and then that kind of it gets more subtle. It kind of calms down, and then the vodka and the rum dominate. I mean, it is boozy. It is like one of my coworkers said, "You smell like Lysol," and it was really just that alcohol dominated vibe. I mean, it is alcohol. It is like it smells like you poured a drink on you almost. Um, and then after about 45 minutes, the amber creeps in. About 35, 45 minutes, that amber creeps in, and it starts to get rich and dense and rich. And then this vanilla tea honey, the vanilla, well, the vanilla kind of creeps in, like it's there, but it doesn't make a lot of noise. It gets sweeter and sweeter as it starts to dry down. It starts to get sweeter and sweeter. The vanilla and the honey comes in, and then I don't know, man. Maybe an hour and a half into this thing. I mean, honestly, I would even argue that you may not like this fragrance at first. You may not like this fragrance for about the first hour. You may find it a bit obtrusive, off-putting. That note combination with that vodka and the incense is it's sort of a weird feeling to it. So that top note, that first hour may aggravate you, but please, 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 please sample it and give it time. Because within an hour, I mean, again, the amber comes in, and then this vanilla joins the party, then the honey joins the party, and here's where it gets good. About an hour and a half, couple of hours into it, and it's so subtle you really don't notice. I mean, this scent is really, really. I mean, as I talked about niche and designer fragrances, here's one reason I enjoy some of the niches. They take a risk because they know spraying that on a card and handing it to a customer would be they may not sell much. No, someone may not ever come back to visit this, but we understand the kind of how fragrances evolve and mature, and as they start to draw down and you get the middle notes, and so anyway, in Ambre Russe, about an hour and a half, maybe a couple hours into this thing, man, after the vanilla and the honey and amber is there, and the amber starts to dominate. So now we understand that this is an amber fragrance. This is that's why it's called Ambre Russe. On the first spray, you're like, well, why is this called amber? Because I'm getting a lot of different stuff. But then the amber comes, and the amber starts to say, I'm here, and I'm home, and this is my house. And then the vanilla and the honey joins in and starts to get denser and sweeter and a little thicker. And then here again, here's the special part. This tea and leather joins, and oh my gosh, it becomes the most beautiful scent to me, uh, um, that I've almost had the pleasure to smell. I mean, when you're talking about heavy scents, this is a heavy scent. So it gets a little powdery, and it gets sweet, and then there's leather and tea joints, and it's like a suede couch. Think of, like, it almost has this velvet type of approach to it. Like, people start talking about cashmere and comfort. I would never call this a comfort scent because it's so vibrant and so thick and so rich. I would never call Ambre Russe comfort, but it does have comforting qualities, and that's the tea and the leather join with this, and then the boozy notes start to really go to the back, and man, you're left with amber, honey, some vanilla, making it a bit more sweet, and then this leather tea combination that just gives it this suede quality. Like like you're in this amber cloud of you're like in this amber blanket almost. It makes it like a blanket type of scent. You're warm, you're cozy, you're you're there. Like you're in your zone now. So if you enjoy amber fragrances, this is it. So let me get into compliment factor. The compliment factor the first hour may not exist. Somebody, if you spray it and ask somebody what it smells like, they may not like this scent. They may say it's old fashioned or something like that. That vodka rum common instant combination it could be a bit output. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it from the first spray, but others may not. Number one. Number two, as it starts to dry down, and I mean, if somebody sees you in 5 hours, they're gonna compliment this. You smell wonderful to them. Now, it is a feminine fragrance. I mean, it does lean a bit towards the feminine fragrance. In the top, not at all. But as it starts to dry down and get closer, it definitely that amber vanilla honey combo with the leather and the tea, it does edge on the feminine side of things. So that could be a problem. However, the compliment factor is terrific on it. Longevity, things have longevity. I still have this on. I sprayed this at 8 o'clock. I hadn't touched it again. I did about 5 sprays. Now, 5 sprays will kill the written up. I sprayed 5 sprays and went in my office and kind of just stayed away from people. My coworker came in there and was like, dang, you're loud, right? But in about 15, 30 minutes, when all that other spiciness dries down, it becomes a bit better. It's not as bright. But once it starts to thicken up and get sweet, I mean, you're moving. Like anyone in arm's reach is going to smell you, and it is going to make a statement. Longevity, I mean, silage, trail, nice. Long, 5. Projection, 5. Longevity, 6 out of 5. I mean, that thing lasts. It's still on my skin right now. I sprayed it again. I sprayed it at about 8 this morning, and it's still on my skin. Now, I mean, I smell it great. Some of it got on my tank top, and my gosh, like I took my shirt off, and it was like boom, like all in my face. So, longevity is terrific. Overall, this has to be a cool weather scent. I could not imagine wearing this fragrance in the summer. I couldn't imagine. Like you're talking about killing somebody, including yourself, wearing this in the summer, unless you go with maybe a spray under the shirt. I mean, under the shirt, like tuck that joker in there and spray it, and one maybe at the base of the neck. I wouldn't even put it here because if that heat hits that and it gets in your nose, as it starts to warm up, it's going to smother you. So, universal. I mean, it could be worn as a casual scent. It could be worn as a date scent, I think, but it definitely has to be cool. If your skin is going to get really, really warm, this could get cloying. Um, but overall, man, it is a 5 out of 5 fragrance. It is fighting. It is fighting my Killians for a top spot. And I love my Killians, but this one, like the value of this thing. I mean, this size I think runs about 75. I think the 50 mil, but excuse me, you can get 100 mil for like 110. That's $1.10 a milliliter for a wonderful scent. I mean, this thing, I mean, 3 sprays a wear, you will have this fragrance forever. So it's well worth its weight, well worth it. Wonderful smell. If you are okay with what I just described, um, overall, I give it 5 out of 5. It is a wonderful, wonderful scent. What it set out to do, it definitely accomplished. So that's it. That's Ambre Russe. I got a couple of more coming for you. God bless.